Adofonom abusiafo baby ahwe free bia no mema wo akwa abasronko so e de aba POG Media so yanko yensem num na yemfa ensem tutu ne nyede enye embro na there was an interesting air story I pese yede ebro which is it is about Lordina Mahama the first lady of Air Ghana Moman Ghana ye mampani John Dramani Mahama na ho kanina omako pii mu ewo United States America man na it's all about the UN General Meeting. UN General Meeting no before say event no ebeba so no na ye a back stage a bi and I say a back seminars bi na eja amampani yerenom ne amampani fonum etitiru ebitese John Dramani Mahama omo eho kanimu nso ayede akasa na omo de nsem ayede efa ewiase de airco ene de airbound na we na lucky enough ya mampani ne ho kani enya akasamu na maami kasae okasafa ne ma bia ekoso ewo eyewiase ho na wa hwe maame no ne dimina ne tese ne posture and everything wa show say ampa oyo mampani enho kani pa na wa hye Ghana fo ene wonyam at Ghana fo nso enimpa yi before say yebekọ na yakwa akoti maame ne nsem a hwie egu yiwe nso ane aboawura omampani John Dramani Mahama pia wakwaye de wakopiem ewo the UN General Assembly no ɛho enso mpopoye no yede beyede yede beba omampani enso ekasaye ode nneoma bebre yede to and the preparations are omode egu akwan mu ewo United States of America yenko ne nkonkoti ɛho nsem ba subscribe like you media ne share nema afoforo enso ensa inkabi makramo.
Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters in faith, I bring you warm greetings from the good people of Ghana, from my husband John Dramani Mahama and our family. I also extend well wishes from the Lordina Foundation, through which we work tirelessly to improve the lives of women and children in Ghana. Thank you for the invitation to the annual prayer service for children. It is a powerful event hosted by the World Vision International and your partners. On behalf of the children from around the world, thank you for your unwavering commitment to the vulnerable. I am pleased with this year's theme, A Moment of Hope. It is very relevant, particularly as our leaders gather for the 80th UN General Assembly at a time when the global order is rapidly changing. We gather here from different nations and cultures, but we are united by our shared faith. Through prayer and collective action, we can create a world where every child is protected and empowered to achieve their full potential. To quote President John Dramani's words, the challenges facing our children today are immense, but they can be tackled through decisive leadership. Across the world, children are affected by conflict and humanitarian crisis. The UN estimates that hundreds of thousands of children are caught up in armed conflicts. A significant number of children are in Africa, where they are robbed of their childhood, forced to fight, and go through terrible experiences. These are precious lives, destroyed by circumstances beyond their control. When nations fail to focus on policies that safeguard the home, strengthen communities, and nurture the youth, it is our children who suffer the most. When conflicts erupt, they are the ones who lose parents, siblings, homes, and dreams, and carry emotional scars that can last a lifetime. This is why this prayer service is so vital. It is a moment for us to pause, reflect, and seek divine intervention. It is a moment to collectively pray for the wisdom our leaders need to make the right decisions. As the Bible reminds us in Proverbs 9:10, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and knowledge of the Holy One is understanding. With divine wisdom, our leaders can follow paths of peace and progress for all children. Prayer builds strength, not just in the children who face adversity, but in us as parents to continue to work hard for their well-being. Jesus himself demonstrated profound love for children, telling us in Matthew 19:14, "Let the children come to me, and do not hinder them, for the kingdom of heaven belongs to such as these." And in chapter 18, verse 3, he calls us to learn from their meekness and purity. It is in this spirit that I humbly lift this prayer for the children of Ghana and the world. Heavenly Father, I lift the needy and orphan children in Ghana and across the world into your loving care. I ask that you surround them with protection, comfort, and hope for a brighter future. Provide for their daily needs, including food, shelter, clothing, and education. Bless those who dedicate their time and resources to care for them. May these children grow in wisdom, strength, and joy, knowing that you love them. Guide their paths with opportunities, surround them with kindness, and let their lives shine as testimonies of your unfailing grace and provision. Amen. My dear friends, in this moment of hope, let us renew our collective commitment. I know that God, the Almighty that we serve, will continue to bless and guide us, and guide my husband, the President of Ghana, to implement policies that protect our children, open opportunities, and prepare them for a good future. Thank you, and may God bless and protect our children as we lift them up in prayer now and always. Thank you.
Mahama is set to address the United Nations General Assembly on global peace and security, advancement of the Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs, climate action, and regional economic integration. And Kamala Kloche gave us a view of how the week will be, starting from when the president arrived in the United States. Take a look.
Security at the 80th United Nations General Assembly will be tighter than ever. Some 200 world leaders are expected to fly into New York City at a period when global conflicts are raging. Topmost, Gaza, Israel, Russia, and Ukraine. Those tensions will be reflected at the United Nations. The quiet before the storm that will bring New York City to its annual gridlock. U.S. head of
Well, that's the atmosphere there. Now, this year is the 80th session of the United States Nations General Assembly, and it's on the theme 80 years and more for peace, development, and human rights. And this is what has been happening today, day one. And statehood of Palestinian took center stage at a conference hosted by France and Saudi Arabia. And also the Security Council held an emergency meeting on the recent incursion by Russian fighters just into the Estonian airspace. In the coming days, tomorrow, all things being equal, we'll see the United Nations Security Council expected to hold a meeting on the war in Gaza and the security situation. And also the world leaders expected to gather for a climate summit. And this is where we're zooming straight to what's happening with respect to the Ghanaian interest at the United Nations General Assembly, and Komla Kluche is a senior presidential affairs correspondent, is joining us live from the streets of New York right now. And Komla, talk to us. How has day one of the UN General Assembly been as we speak?
Well, I mean, Alfred, it's been very, very busy for both the POG named the President of Ghana, the First Lady, and also the Foreign Affairs Minister. All of them have their programs they are running, even though, I mean, they are intertwined in one way or the other. But being quite a tight one for the POG, like I did say, a lot of the meetings has been holding where the private ones, holding bilateral meetings, and also, the signing of MOUs, most especially by the foreign minister. And then also the First Lady had that children encounter at the prayer section for children of the United Nations, quite a powerful one that she delivered this morning. But one of the things that's been looked at is for tomorrow. I can tell you, I mean, we're speaking to you. We just got to the permanent mission of Ghana here to the United Nations here in New York. This is where everything about Ghana happens. But right across down is where the United Nations office or the headquarters is, where we've been all day. It's been up and down, busy moment, because the opening session of the plenary happened today, where the Secretary General of the United Nations, Antonio Guterres, and the former Liberian head of state, Ellen Johnson-Sirleaf, spoke, and they expressed concern about world peace and also the fact that women have been marginalized, irrespective of the Beijing Convention, where they're marking 30 years of it. It hasn't really reflected as to what women should be doing in terms of taking a center stage. But Alfred, let me run by you. Let's indicate that tomorrow the high level will actually be officially opened, and that is when the President of the United States, Donald Trump, is expected to give that opening address. Is the reason why you can see a lot of gridlock. I mean, just behind me, that's far away from here down south, almost all.
Yo, uguso a wohwe dwumadie no unsubscribe ya subscribe like dwumadie no share na ma for friends so and can be kindly click on the notification bell no so send be the any news bia no ebe to platform no so awon so wahunu de airco ene de ebe POG Media de ye no POG Media nya abotre ne hwe ye dwumadie no fire de efamai enti no ye beto aso na ye de ofamienu no abroyenko ne konkoti.
All the roads are blocked because of what's going to be happening tomorrow, because Donald Trump would be in town. Secret Service, we have the LAPD who, for all this period, have been on the street. But Alfred, what I can say is also, like you did ask, the Ghanaian interest. What else would the president be doing? From the itinerary that we get, the president would be at the UNHQ tomorrow at 8 a.m. By 8:30 a.m. and he will take part in that high-level meeting, which is the official opening of the heads of state who would be there. Now, after he has had that engagement, the First Lady will also be having some other engagement, but very topical would also be a meeting with the UN Secretary General. We also know that he will be having some engagement with the Rockefeller Foundation, where he will be selling the Ghana story on the research agenda to the foundation. This is to bring in a lot of investment. This is also to put the country on a pedestal where businesses or the country has been open for business and also for a lot of investment. Now, the other things that the president would also be doing on Thursday, the president would be addressing the world from the headquarters, and that's at 12 p.m. Eastern Time, which is 4 p.m. in Ghana. And the president will be making the point forcefully, or especially when he leads the financial committee, so to speak, of the African Union, championing how Africa should be able to stand on its own feet financially. The issue of reparations has also come to play. The president would forcefully be making the point that it is not just about handout, but it's also about giving back what belongs to Africa. And the fact that Africa does not just need, the handouts that should be doled out, but they need to stand on its feet. And in standing on its feet, it means that there should be a level of respect. There should be a level of cooperation that should be. These, among others, are a few things that the president will be doing. But I can tell you, meetings of this like at the UN is very, very packed. And from one meeting to the other, sometimes by the time the president and his entourage is done for the day, it's way late into the night. But these things are supposed to happen. But I'll just paint a picture, just right there. You can see over there, one of the roads blocked leading towards the UN headquarters over there. The LAPD, you see the barricades from your shot over there, that they are trying to block the road. And this is just a different arrangement at every minute or at every point in time. The LAPD, the Secret Service, and what we call, or what has been termed the clandestine security officers, are on the lookout, blocking roads here and there. The import of this is also as a result of the fact that the president of the United Nations will be in New York. His home or his house is not far away. The Trump Tower is not far away from the UNHQ. And so this is what the situation is like right here in New York. New York is actually a very busy, for want of a better word, a busy city. But because of these activities of the United Nations, 80 years, it's become much more busier in times like this, especially when the United Nations headquarters is really activated for their annual meetings.
Great detail there, comprehensive reporting there. Fantastic. Kamala, now just giving us the atmosphere of what they're walking us through what's going on and how the streets of New York look as we speak. Now, you've been speaking to some members of the Ghanaian community there, Ghanaians living in New York, and they've been talking to you about the expectations of the president. What have they been telling you?
Well, many of them say it's not the first time. John Mahama has had, a certain amount of command when it comes to international diplomacy. Mind you, the history of him being a communications minister, also being a journalist, and also because of the opportunity given to him by Professor John Evans Atamil, for him to have met a lot of world leaders, the posturing that he had in the past, many people or many of the people who believe in his administration say that he's in a better place position. The reason why the responsibility is on him from the African Union, from ECOWAS, to be able to speak for them, for want of a better word. Their expectation for them is for the president not just speaking to the continent or speaking to the world, but there are issues concerning back home as well. But they have equally expressed confidence in the fact that in just about the 9 months that the president has been in office, they've seen significant improvement. Even though there is room for improvement, they think that he said the right thing. They think that with the pace he's going, if he has the complement of his appointees, there's no doubt that the reset agenda that he's put around him will be able to achieve it. But the issue now remains as to what the commitment is going to be even by his own appointees, which he himself has expressed a lot of confidence or reposed a lot of confidence in them. But the question remains, to what extent would the appointees be complementing the hard work of the president? Looking at the lengthy time, the chief of staff is here, the secretary to the president is here, the deputy chief of staff, and the two of them are here. The Minister for Health is here. The GITC board is here. We've also seen the National Health Insurance Authority board, Dr. Victor Papo, who is also a host of others. The NDPC board himself is also here. The foreign minister is also here. These are people who form, the fulcrum of the government of John Mahama, and so it tells you the kind of stake that this brings to them, and also the level of interest that they have. But at the end of the day, what does Ghana gain? That is what it is. Now, I mean, I'm trying up for you to see the helicopter way up there. Those are part of security reasons. And this is very common. It's been going on for the past almost 1 week or so, but it's been heightened a lot of at every 1 minute or so, you see a chopper moving all over the skyscrapers and ensuring that security is top-notch. Security is high on the alert here in New York City, which is hosting the 80th year of the United Nations.
Some great detail, great reporting, Kamala. Appreciate you for this. And he's going to be on the ground. He's bringing you everything you need to know about the United Nations General Assembly's the 80th session. Exclusive detail here on TV3 and across all media journal platforms. Kamala Kluche is there for us in New York and will bring you everything you need to know. It's a senior presidential affairs correspondent right there live from New York City. Kamala Kluche there. On behalf of the rest of the team, we want to say thank you so much for staying with us here on Ghana Tonight. We're back again tomorrow for another conversation. I am Alfred Okanse. Have a good night.
Aha, any idea some no ABC at the amount of subscribe, like it, you may share, Nema for instance, and can be kindly click on the notification bell to send a BI any news be no. Eto platform no so I won so one the aircall and the POG Media de yenemo ya shebo Ghana be Ghana nkoswo de aha ya nkwa na obenye news apapa makramo.